Welcome back, guys. Jin Air got a very big lead once again in game number 2, but they just could not close it out as MVP eventually came back to win the game.
I feel like you couldn't really be any further ahead with their win lane win game comp. They got 5 Drakes this game, and by the end, it just didn't matter. Looking over all the early parts of this game where it was just a highlight reel of Jin Air doing everything right, but then one false move around the blue buff, Umti went down, and eventually, so did Jin Air GreenWings.
Yeah, a lot of these fights looking really good for Jin Air. Even this one, where they're able to get the bottom turret, is without the Baron. They just zone them out. Can't quite get the kill onto ADD, but it doesn't matter. This is where it all begins to go wrong for Jin Air.
Bit of a misexecution around this flank, not respecting the fact that they lost the vision they had earlier in this blue buff area, and yet they still could have had their blushes spared, Valdez. There was still time after this move, as they did not lose that much, all things considered. Gray still doing a lot of damage, as we could see. It was here where Umti goes on a solo mission to kill a control ward. You agree with the premise of, damn, that vision was strong against us. You don't agree with the fact that he had no one to back him up. They also abort doing the bot lane inhibitor, which could have gone down through this for an exhausted So1 to walk up. They had no ability to smite it away. So1 only now actually gets the ability to build the Narbar up, and they lose to Baron, because of course they do. Jin Air GreenWings did find a way this game to throw away what was an excellent early game.
Yeah, eventually had to come in here and check. And then the binding lands, they pull him back, and here's Yondu. Say hello, the Devourer was down. The Jin could not get away. The fight just falls apart from there. Well, they're gonna have to go back to the drawing board, I suppose, this time around on the side of Jin Air, as it's very hard to throw leads like that. We'll see what they decide to do in game 3.
Can you imagine MVP is not gonna opt into leaving open things like the Nocturne Shen that were the big power picks for Jin Air in game number 1? See how their mentality is? We won it in game number 1 because they were coming off that fateful loss to BBQ Olivers. Now we're gonna see them coming off this frustrating game 2 loss where for 25 minutes, they were playing great League of Legends.
It's not the graph you wanna look at as the side of the Jin Air, the coaches, the players, the fans. You were winning for so long, the majority of the game. Just the last 2-3 minutes or so, you were down in gold, and that was it. So the MVP will be Ian, actually, on the side of his Swain. Not a bad game, 100% kill participation. He was just behind for the majority of it. And then once he finally got some fights going in his favor, he had a couple of good plays.
Series starting to remind me of the Telecom War yesterday, where should really have been a 2-0. Jin Air make a critical error, and the game changes very quickly. And if it follows that story, the higher seeded team crushes in game number 3. We got a news update, though. We have a player change on the side of MVP. And you know what that means? It means that Max is coming back.
Yeah, you know, they tried out Motive for just one game. He won. He actually had a good late game on the Morgana, and then they take him out because, well, Max is just better. So I like the choice to bring him back, and we'll see if he can bring his team to victory this time around. Had some trouble with that in game number 1 on the Gragas. Would recommend not the support Gragas again for him. He's tried so many different picks.
How about Brand?
How about Brad? Second time at it, maybe get a win on it this time.
He hasn't played his Quadra Kill Scion support in a while. They've had Scion bans before, Valdez.
How about a Zyra?
Yeah.
When's the last time we've seen Zyra?
We have seen Zyra hovers, but no Zyra lock-ins.
We've seen a lot of different hovers. Well, looks like we're ready for the pick and ban for game number 3. So let's jump into that right now. Jin Air is going to be on the blue side.
Grace looks like he's a man trying to work out how they get Nocturne Shen again. It's a tricky one to pull off. The blue side bans in game number 1 did include the supports. Morgana, Tahm Kench, Rakan. Maybe one of the reasons we saw Max eventually visit that Gragas. MVP could just ban Aatrox and Nocturne and Taliyah, because they definitely don't seem to want to return to the Taliyah for Nocturne trade that did not go their way in game number 1.
The Taliyah basically did nothing in game number 1. did the lowest damage on his team below the Gragas support.
I would say it definitely negatively contributed overall.
Yeah. So would not like to see that. You can just go ahead and ban that now. Okay, they're going to take away the Nocturne first.
I guess they
leave the Taliyah.
Maybe they're flirting with leaving open Taliyah and banning away the Swain, because they did ban Swain on the red side in game number 1. And we do see one support left open. The Rakan is left open for Max, but the Ezreal going to be taken away from Pilot. Seems like Teddy doesn't want to play Jhin. They don't want to go for a different visit to that bot lane. What does MVP make of this? I feel like Taliyah will be the obvious ban, but Swain is the respect ban. They actually banned neither and banned the Vladimir that Teddy played in game number 1. A big gasp from the Korean casters.
We haven't seen Umti's Taliyah just yet. He actually looked really concerned after the Vlad got banned, but any jungler at the top level is going to know how to play a good Taliyah, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them pick it. But they do give over the Swain.
My favorite comp that Jinner have played this year was the Taliyah Skarner. You remember that one where they put down the Weaver's Wall and get a pick with a Skarner ultimate? So it could still be mid lane. Grace's best champion, if I'm thinking of spring, was the Taliyah. He actually played some really good games on it. So no guarantee it will be Umti, but that's a flex you have to consider. Speaking of flexes, hello Swain, you're going to be locked in the first round for MVP.
No surprise there. Was their first pick on the blue side when it was left available.
Kindred has gone the entire series without being picked, and I feel like, depending on what Umti wants to do here, could definitely be considered for both Yondu and Umti.
But instead, the Skarner comes out again. It was really good against the Jhin, against the Trundle, I suppose. Felt pretty good about it in that game.
Gragas, a strong flex pick. Could also be a jungler for Umti if he wants to visit it. Not really one he's played with any consistency in his career. Definitely don't think of him as a Gragas main by any means. But a powerful pick and could be the support choice for Nova, who is most comfortable on the engage. So on as well. We'll consider it in the top side. Wonder if we'll see Ian pick the Mundo on the red side and start banning away Mundo counters, because you know what? Jinner couldn't close the game, and Mundo did Mundo things eventually. Mundo already likes facing a Taliyah. It's one he can shut down, as this would mean most likely the jungle Taliyah for the side of Jinner, but it could still be a pick for Teddy. Remember, they did have the frontlining Teddy Rise in one of their victories recently against Kledmid.
Yep, lots of flexing on the side of Jinner. Those three champions can go essentially anywhere. I'm thinking about the Mundo this time on the red side, but Ian, one to hover, many different things, is going to pick up the Alistair, actually. First time this series.
Does have the potential to go bot lane with the Swain for very annoying CC lane with lots of displacement, and pull someone into the trample and guarantee that third stun to come through. It is the 5th game in his career for Umti on the Gragas. None in 2018 though, so not being a pick he's been returning to.
Says MVP go-go diet, no. That's not what Papa's saying.
Hey man, I'm on my diet. MVP can do whatever they want. There's some Umti and Teddy Jinner fans in the audience.
There, on the right side.
Mundo going to be banned away this time, so the Alistair was at the cost of ADD, sticking with a whole series on the Doctor. We'll see who's in. GP still open. Actually, no, banned away just now by MVP, so the top lane pool definitely being constricted a bit does raise the likelihood that we might be seeing a Gragas top lane for Jinner.
Zoe, going to be the last ban over here. Not respecting any kind of mid-swain, I suppose. Just going to take that one away just in case it does get flexed. Ornn, haven't seen too much Ornn here. Would be some ridiculous engage for the side of MVP, and there it is. Well, that is one scary comp. Let's see some more damage, though.
Yeah, they need a damage threat with the final pick to go somewhere. You would imagine it will be to Pilot, but I guess we'll see. On the side of MVP, could be Ian's pick as well. Might be thinking about a Vel'Koz or something on the side of MVP. As on the side of Jinner, look at this man who we've not seen all week, actually. There's been so little Darius in this week of the LCK. We're finally going to see him. Was too much of him before, but I've come to miss the man, so We at least one Darius game today. Jin Air have the most flexing going on their side. It could even be Teddy on the damn Talia, I guess. So
yeah.
Anything could be happening here. Hello.
Well, speaking of things and champions
All
we haven't
right.
seen in a while, Mordekaiser gonna make his return.
Can you think of a champion less Teddy-esque than the Mordekaiser? You would have said the same thing about Deft a couple of months ago, and now we have Teddy, most likely on the Mordekaiser. First in a while, as Pilot says, I've seen this a few times.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit bold. The enemy team has quite a lot of beef on it. The Talia, the only true squishy on the side.
Yeah.
Where's everyone going is something that will be confirmed, and it will be Umti in the jungle, so far it seems pretty standard. Teddy and Nova, it's not quite the Ornn and Mordekaiser, but it's definitely some modified Bruise Bros on the side of Jin Air GreenWings.
I like it. The Jin, that's definitely the one where I'm looking at it like, oh, okay. Definitely adds even more pick and lockdown and engage, but did you really need that when you had Ornn, Skarner, Swain, and Alistair? The answer is probably not.
It definitely feels like they went to an all-you-can-eat salmon restaurant and then ordered a side of salmon. And it's like, well, I mean, you had
you
salmon.
Got a salmon steak.
I really like salmon. Don't get me wrong, but you had so much salmon.
Get a salmon poke bowl, whatever those are called.
Poke.
Poke?
Yes.
Isn't that like Pokemon?
No.
Isn't it like they're copying?
It's a Hawaiian term. It's poke.
Okay. Salmon poke bowls. Maybe some just raw salmon, straight up. You get team salmon in there.
You were used to be on a Team
Wolf
Salmon.
Yeah. Nobody knows who those people are. Some people might know who Wolf are.
The SKT support?
Yeah. Wolf. Yeah, he was part of it. Yeah. He used to cast with me in English.
The more you learn.
Yeah. Well, turns out there are a lot of people named Wolf and a lot of people that like to play Jin. Seems like Pilot is going to turn this one around and say, Teddy, I will show you how to play Jin.
We got some interesting stuff going on here. You can still snowball with MVP's comp, but I wasn't expecting the Jin as the final pick, Valdez.
Yeah, definitely an interesting one to round it out. The countdown has started, though, guys. Game number 3 between Jin Air and MVP will start right now. Oh, never mind.
You lied!
The Greencaster kept talking, and I was like, well, wait, what's going on?
What else have you lied about? Are you saying that he wasn't actually an English commentator?
Well, turns out we have a good friend named Wolf. Wolf Schroeder.
That's not how he pronounces his name.
That's how
also,
I pronounce it.
it's not pronounced waft.
Waft. The smell of salmon wafting all over here. Way too much. As they've drafted way too much salmon, way too much pick on the side of MVP.
I'm not going to let you pick yourself away from this predicament you put yourself in.
By the way, their composition is, but it's amazing. That's how casters love to transition away from awkward stuff. Some haha moments, if you will.
I call them Valdez moments.
No, I don't call them that.
No?
I call them Vidius moments.
Ah.
That one definitely a little bit more accurate.
Well, we would love to get into this third game because we still have a 6 series to back this one up. FLICKR Freak's going to be in action against BBQ in the second series of the night, playing into the eventual EULCS. We got 5 hours to fill before EULCS starts.
Yeah.
It's only fair that we're here to keep the audience entertained till Europe takes over the reins.
Unlike ADD, who is not entertained by anything ever, he's actually banging his head against the chair. He's had enough.
I like to think that he's actually got some mental, like, heavy metal going on.
Yeah.
He's enjoying it. Bit of head rock going on there. Some swift rage, if you will, as Teddy stares on, saying, why is there a Jin on the enemy team? I thought I was the only one.
Well, there's also Double Lift. We don't talk about him too much over here, except the last time we talked about him, Papa Smithy. Everybody remembers that moment.
My favorite part of that is people thought I was calling Double Lift trash, which tells me that there's so many fans that don't know the Double Lift meme from so many years ago, and it reminds me of why I need to explain who Dade is in 2018. Turns out, majority of our viewer base No,
is
of
12.
this situation, and yes, that's exactly where I was getting.
Well, Nova took a nap too. Everybody's just waiting for this game to start, or will it start? Have you ever been on a broadcast that's just been like, well, guys, sorry, but we can't start it. 5 hours later, we're going to end it. See you next time.
I mean, we were probably both watching Achilleos and Monty showing their socks and playing Hangman with the Hangman. That sounds like a different game. Playing Hangman with the audience. So yes, Valdez, I've been adjacent to one. We've definitely had 30-minute delays, but yeah, not quite like that.
Yeah. Maybe this is our moment to shine.
It seems like there's still some ping issues going on when it comes to reconnecting to the game. Sadly, these have been cropping up a little bit this week. We don't have an issue in the bottom right, so we don't really know what to call it.
Is it really an issue?
It's a game start issue.
Yeah. But if they don't say issue, is it really an issue?
I heard some of your jokes. Jokes. Words?
What is going on
I don't
today?
know. You've broken me, Valdez.
You've had way too much LCK.
Apparently.
Can't handle it anymore.
I still have 2 more days, baby. But I heard some of your jokes. Maybe it's a banter issue that's going on.
Yeah.
Here.
Bit of a banter issue.
Zoinks.
Some of your joiks.
Well, Zoinks is actually a Scooby-Doo reference.
Yeah.
So I can say that one.
I'm not as young as the viewers, Papa. I've heard of Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Where are you? You don't know where it goes from there.
I actually don't know the next line. The music has stopped, guys.
We've got a reboot issue.
A moment of silence for the game.
One day we'll be back into this video game, the third, I guess the second sequel to the first game, a legendary video game if there ever was one. Everyone's getting a bit quiet here. The Korean caster is getting super sultry and just whispering into the mic.
It helps when you can hear yourself. Your voice is booming on the speaker right behind you. We don't really have that luxury. We just have the headphones.
They're nice headphones. Wearing Sennheisers, nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
Just enjoying ourselves here, as I'm sure the players are frustrated they haven't been able to load into game number 3. Teddy, again, still staring at the picture of the Jin, saying what's going on here. I believe it might be his first career game of the Mordekaiser, unless I'm missing one from earlier this season. I have the ability to fact check. No, one game of Mordekaiser earlier this season. So second career game on Teddy for the Mordekaiser. It doesn't strike me as a Teddy champion, and he has a 6.5 KDA going on. That's kills plus assists over deaths. So he definitely wasn't a superstar in that one.
Maybe a 1-2 loss, 2-4.
Well, I think it's podcast time. Over here.
1-4-1.
Papa's Mad Life hasn't had a new episode in a while, Valdez.
Yeah, you know, we can just hop right on the train. Do you know what episode it is?
I think it's about episode 9.
That is a lot of episodes.
We definitely got to 7, and I think we had like a half teaser episode when everything got fixed. So we'll call it 9.
It was kind of like the filler episode where nothing really happens, but, you know, it's kind of just there.
Hey, I've watched enough anime to know what filler episodes are.
Yeah. All the players are going to sleep.
So,
Nova taking a nap. Pilot was sleeping.
I posed the question of whether you had kind of a big fandom going on. You were saying no when it came to bands and things like that. Did you at least have a TV show that you felt very like militant about? Like, this is my favorite show, and like your show sucks. Like something that you really followed and had huge fandom of. Did you just really coast through life with no great interests or disinterests?
I mean, when I was young, I used to watch a lot of Nickelodeon. So like SpongeBob was my big show back in the day.
Okay.
As I got a little bit older, I guess Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was an obvious one. I'm basically like Reddit combined into a person.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's why none of your references make sense.
Definitely those two shows were the big ones growing up. Outside of that, I didn't really... I played a lot of games, you know. I feel like I wasted like 5 years of my life playing World of Warcraft. I assume you weren't on that boat, were you?
I'm actually one of the few people I've met in the video game industry that has never played World of Warcraft. I've never played it.
Actually.
Wolf, the StarCraft?
Yeah.
Guy?
No.
The
League of Legends player.
SKT support. Okay. It's part of Team something?
Team
Sammy?
Simone?
I don't know. I don't know what that's
Something
all
like
about.
That.
In case you guys are joining late, we've decided to record a podcast, and we've told the players, could you please sit in the booths, chill out. We've got podcasts to record. Papa has that control now. I'm here every day. You don't see here every day, only every second or third day.
Yeah, he's really slacking. All these players are.
This is the amazing production values we get for our podcast. We get a captive audience and captive pro players. They got nowhere to go. They got to wait for us to record.
Yeah. Captive audience, was that a reference to the Jin we have in our game?
Indirectly, yes.
We have had 2 Jins so far. Unless this goes to a remake and a redraft.
This is some sick production value we have here, showing you guys some great shots. They have to stick around as we continue to record. Okay, SpongeBob gives me something. I feel like I'm 2 or 3 years aged out of SpongeBob.
Yeah. I know that my older brother, who was also born in '87, did not really watch too much SpongeBob. That was me and my middle brother, mostly.
I missed out on SpongeBob. I also was not on the Power Rangers hype train either.
Yeah.
I was just about the right age for the original Pokemon series, which I did enjoy very much.
I feel like Power Rangers was like a little bit too early for me to really remember. Like it was like when I was 6 years old, you know? It's that moment. I watched some of the reruns that were on Twitch, and
that was fun.
It brought back a lot of memories that I didn't know I had. But it was really interesting, for sure.
Twitch and Netflix reminds me, there's just some series that are so different when you binge all the episodes back-to-back compared to watching them weekly. I guess now I kind of live this lifestyle where I don't have, like, appointment television viewing times because I cast the LCK in prime time 6 days a week. So I guess I really do appreciate Netflix for that ability to thrift some time to catch up on some shows. These guys would love to catch up on some League of Legends, but as we've explained, our podcast takes supremacy over this game. We're holding it back. So everyone in Twitch chat who's screaming for the game to start, we are in fact at fault. We are still recording.
We have a bit of an update, actually. A little bit of an intermission in the podcast. There is a judging issue, actually, that asked the judges to check whether the opponents got into the jungle a little bit earlier than the Jin Air players, while the Jin Air players were having trouble with the pings. So the game is ready to go. It's just about asking whether or not the players got into the jungle before them.
I think they should settle this with a fight on the Rift. They should definitely get out there.
You know?
A bit of biffo, you know, just show who's boss on the Rift.
Yeah. It was decided that it was not a regame issue. So
hopefully it's a continue with the podcast issue.
We should be ready to go, maybe.
We're ready to go.
With the podcast.
We're feeling good. We're feeling good about this podcast. We're feeling good about talking. The World Cup's gone. We can't talk about that anymore.
Yeah, you know, missed that one. A lot of people were interested in my coaching session with LS. A lot of people asking you to ask me about it. A lot of people asking me when the next episode is going to be.
So now you're asking...
I'm asking you to
You're asking the viewers to listen to
asking
me about joining you in the conversation for. You're being a social media manager for a large conglomerate. Please join the conversation that you didn't know about, that we would really like you to be talking about to Sproik my part. Okay, Valdez, I will. Tell me all about the future of your coaching situation with former Spo TV analyst Nick DeCesare, better known as Last Shadow, more recently only known as LS. What? What? You lost your train of thought.
You said like
so
way
hard.
too many things.
Exactly.
Like,
that was my whole point.
Where were? Oh, okay.
What's next? Is there going to be a sequel? Should people be on the edge of their seats for an indeterminate amount of time?
He coached me playing Kindred 2 games in a row, and it was a lot of fun. There was a meme that was born from it that involved wheelchairs and spamming.
Wait, are we broadcast friendly on this meme?
Well, people have tried to put it in the chat, the LCK chat, and they've been immediately auto-timed out by
Is it really
Moobot.
smart to bait them by explaining this meme that they will only get them banned?
I mean, we'll definitely have a bunch of people get timed out. You're not going to get banned if you do it, but it won't show up because they'll just interpret it as spam. But, yeah, Kindred's hard. I learned a lot. Next episode is to be determined. I don't know when that's going to happen. Me and LS got to get our schedules together to actually have that happen. It was fun, though. It was a lot of fun.
I've never been coached in League of Legends. I've been asked to coach.
Yeah.
And I did coach the Team Immunity squad that went to WCG 2013. Just remotely coached them for a while, but Actually had some decent offers to coach, but seems very cutthroat.
Yeah.
I'm an old fogey over here. I need to know when my next paycheck is coming. And it turns out, if you substitute some players, you know, some things go along. Sneakily, you might be taken down, you know, before anything goes on.
Very sneakily, indeed. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are calling for some of the coaches here, even in LCK, to eventually step down or be removed. So this has been a very tumultuous season, I'd like to say. The split, specifically, not 2018, but summer 2018. Just with the metas and the different teams. Some of them are winning in a big way, like Griffin. Some of them are losing in a big way, like SKT.
Do wonder how much of an axe would be wielded if SKT are to not make Worlds and potentially not make playoffs for this season. A lot of people spitballing. I invited a lot of people on Twitter. I asked, okay, everyone's talking about the jungle position. What's your dream choice of SKT jungler, and also what's your realistic choice? And got a lot of answers, actually. A lot of people, of course, invested in SKT, whether they're SKT fans or no.
Wait, so what was the most common realistic one? Because I think you told me that the dream one was Score.
A lot of people really wanted Score, and they're also on the Tarzan hype train. And honestly,
understandably, like the number 1 and 2 jungles in the LCK.
But they also kind of both passed the eye test of like rich man's Bengi that people are thinking of. A lot of people just said Bengi, right? Obviously trying to roll back the clock. When it came to the realistic one, a lot of people seemed pretty defeated. And they're like, well, just blank. Like, blank forever. A lot of people said blank. So, I mean.
Really?
He's there already. So he currently holds the throne of SKT jungler. So I guess it makes sense that he's pretty realistically possibly going to be the jungler next year. But it's one of those things where I think a lot of people, there were actually a handful of people, Kelsey Moser, a few other people asking the question of, does changing the personnel in the jungle really change SKT, or does SKT need to change how they've approached using a jungler? And I think that's interesting.
Good question.
It's a question that we've visited many times, with Peanut being kind of the square peg in the round hole kind of situation where they weren't able to really get the full value out of him. What is their top laner? Should it be a veteran? Should it be someone who's sick in lane? Should it be a great teleport player that can play defensively? These are all questions that we don't really know the full answer to for the side of SKT. ADD on your screen. Who knows? Maybe he'll be SKT's top laner next year.
Hey, you never know, right? You always have to think about contracts that might eventually expire, who's going to be up for grabs, which
they have the
agents will be there.
The fans, for SKT fans, could definitely do the easy work of just going to the contract database. You can see when the players' contracts expire. That's public information. I believe all of MVPs at the end of the year. So SKT Yondu, SKT ADD, I guess those are things that
bring them all in.
Yeah. I don't know
Even
if MVP
Ian.
with FLICKR would be an easy sell.
So we have a little bit of an update. Just a sec, guys. It seems as if they might remake the game, actually.
Well, we never saw the game, so it being remade doesn't really affect us.
It's as if the game never started, which essentially it did not for all the viewers that were involved.
If I never saw it happen in front of my eyes, did it ever happen in the LCK? Not this year.
I don't think so. My favorite part of the broadcast yesterday was SKT Deft showing up in the pick ban. That was
on the AR pick ban. Yeah,
definitely the highlight of the
fans
entire
seemed really
cast.
hyped about it when I went through the VOD.
Yeah.
They like the idea of SKT Deft.
Hey, you never know. I think that's the slogan for the New York Lottery, actually.
SKT and KT both miss Worlds. Many things could happen involving high-profile players going all over the place. I feel this podcast has been wantonly about League of Legends far too much.
Yeah, I know.
You moved it to League of Legends with your talk about being coached. Nicely done, Valdez.
Yeah, you know.
Every podcast has a stinker episode. This is this one.
It wasn't my fault.
Yeah, it was.
This is a two-man podcast, Papa.
I'm on every good episode. Now I'm on a bad episode.
It's because of MT.
What did he do? What did poor MT do?
Can I just put the blame on one of the players? Maybe.
Why didn't you put it on Motive? He's not there. He couldn't fight back.
True. Yeah. Let's put it on Snowflower. He's not on that team anymore.
I miss Snowflower.
Yeah.
Come back, Snowflower.
I wonder how he likes turkey.
I never answered the question of who I thought should be SKT's
Oh, I thought we were moving
jungle
away
next year. I think
from
fans,
League of Legends.
just to spitball, I've always wanted this. I've told this to a lot of people. I thought SKT Lira was always a really good choice. He's struggling a bit this year, but we'll leave the topic there. But Lira was the one that I think might be both realistic and actually a good move for SKT.
How about SKT Trick? Let's move Trick up a rung here. He's tired of trying to 1v9. He says, I need to be on a good team. Bring me in, coach.
You know, the memes would be great.
Yeah.
There would be some good memes there. It'd be another English speaker on SKT. Always a pleasure.
Another one? Yeah. Alongside who?
Bang's English is
FLICKR?
pretty good. FLICKR's English, as we showed during the break, not bad.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty good. He always says hello to us. I always feel good when he says hello to us.
I'm just amazed that we have not had this game start yet. They're remaking a game that we never had on screen, which is very sad.
So originally it was not a regame issue, but then both of the coaching staff, both sides, they wanted to regame. So they are going to regame, but the picks and bans are going to stay the same.
Again, we never saw the game, so we're cool with that.
Yeah, it's as if nothing happened. Pentakill, Kaza. I think that's Darius.
It is Darius.
He has an axe. Could be Olaf, you never know.
Could be Umti, an axe to grind with you. You did call him out.
The 7 Glasses brothers, Whiting.
They do all wear glasses, now that you point it out.
Yeah. Well, she pointed it out.
True.
I'm just the vehicle by which it was translated.
What percentage of LCK players wear glasses, do you think? It's probably over 70%.
Yeah. I think it's definitely over 70%.
We have one person on screen who does not. I guess.
But you think about the others. Umti wears glasses. Grace does not. Teddy and Nova both wear glasses, though. So in today's matches, 80%, or I guess 9 out of 11 if you include Motive.
If you think about it,
from the players that played today,
the hot topic is how North America can catch up to Korea. Maybe more players need to wear glasses. Have they tested that?
I mean,
they're talking about the ping. What about the glasses?
Yeah. I think it definitely gives you an advantage, you know.
It seems to. It's all we can really put together here.
You know, there's all sorts of fun stats that we can always bring in. And the region that wears the most glasses turns out to be the best.
Yeah. There you go. Well, I mean, we're not the best.
We're not the best anymore, yeah.
Unfortunately.
What happened?
Well, we lost a lot of tournaments that weren't Worlds. Like a lot of them. We even lost.
How about this year? Is LCK going to win?
Are you asking me today, based on what I've seen so far?
Today.
I would say no.
RNG?
Yeah.
Wins Worlds? Yeah.
I think they have a great matchup against basically every Korean team.
I would agree.
What
about Griffin?
I think...
Do they have a great matchup against Griffin? Not is Griffin going to win Worlds? Because I think Griffin will make Worlds, actually. I actually am on that hype train. Not sure about winning it, though. I feel like that's a bit of a stretch for a team filled with 18 and 17-year-olds.
I think RNG with Karsa could hold Tarzan and the early game of Griffin in check. The problem I have with Griffin is that, you know, you're seduced by the most recent game. Like, wow, weren't they really good against Halma-Life? And yes, they were, but making predictions on 6 rookies in best-of-5s, let alone international best-of-5s, I'm just not interested in making those. I think you need more information than we have. And it seems like good news. It sounds like there's a game for us to go to.
Really? Looks like it. The game is loading, at least. Umti claimed that MVP might have started having a bit of an advantage because of Jin-Air's lag, and so that is what started this entire delay.
It has certainly been a motley crew of events, but it seems to have finally cascaded. I heard the game was ready. Let's see if it was a joke or not.
The game is ready, guys. Let's do it. Game number 3 of round number 2's match number 56. Back from League of Legends.
You can tell that Max's mood is soured. He's gone for Cowboy Alistair and not, in fact, a cowbell. That's the wrong type of cow.
That definitely shows you that he's a little bit angry.
That's his serious face. I'm going to put my serious boots on.
Yeah. Put the cowboy hat on.
It's a really morbid skin, as Monty and Doa love to discuss. But regardless, we'll zoom in on this game, as Pilot has, if you remember picking ban, which you probably shouldn't, it was ages ago.
I don't remember it at all.
Did in fact go Jin against the most tanks on the side of Jin Air. Questionable. Also, Gragas, as a champion, always existed to just throw a cask at the Jin while he was trying to ult.
It's because they're playing against Jin Air. Before Jin was picked because they were Jin Air. Now they're playing against it.
So late invade on the top side here by the side of Jin Air, trying to set up some vertical jungling for now. Would allow Darius to be pretty wanton in his aggression onto the Ornn. Over here. See if ADD throws out a Q and tries to opportunistically steal it away. It's not Hail of Blades once again. It's a Pilot going for the same fleet footwork on the Jin that we saw last time out. Sustain against Mordekaiser and Gragas actually makes a lot of sense. If you double outrange, it's a range champion against 2 melees, you're probably going to get the healing off champions pretty frequently as Pilots, so probably going to be some decent sustain from that choice.
The magic shield on the Darius is kind of interesting. I suppose any chance at surviving for longer so you can get the resets is not a bad idea.
Hi, Umti. He wants to 3-buff quite severely. He's going down the bot side. Could go red to red. Has plenty of mana still, thanks to the Talisman Star. Teddy and Nova pushing the bot lane, and we wait to see if we can be convinced. A lot of engaged in Pilot and Max, but damage, outside of perhaps the early game, going to be tricky.
I do like how aggressive MT is being in the jungle. Just securing all the buffs, tried to come over to the other Scuttle Crab too, just in case the Skarner went for a different kind of path. As it's Aaliyah, unless you get surprised by a Skarner in the bush, and even then you'll probably win the trade. So might as well get really aggressive against him.
And that was the playstyle that got such a big lead for Jin Air in game number 2. Giveth and taketh away was certainly the story with Umti in particular when it came to game number 2, but I do appreciate the battle warding he's doing. Ward placed on the top side here, will spot out Yondu. He's definitely been made predictable on this Skarner, but to what end is what we're going to find out as the game goes on.
I love this path out of MT. He goes red Raptors into red Raptors into the left side Scuttle.
Still hasn't taken blue, and he's looking for a gank.
It's a really weird path, but it might just work. The flash in, he gets the flash out of Ian. Really nice never move, but oh, Ian playing with fire there. If he got hit up by the seismic shove, may have gone down.
He might lose his blue buff for that play as well. Grace and Umti on different wavelengths. Yondu understandably pushing up and going to contest first Aspire. See what it means for the blue buff, but as ADD is pushing in on top side, some options for Yondu to counter jungle.
Trying to catch him in there. It looks like ADD, meanwhile, on the top side, just going to lose that trade. Yondu getting very aggressive here. So one winning the trade up on the top side means that he will rotate over alongside the pushing Rise against the Swain. Means that Yondu does, at the end of the day, have to back out.
He's also buffless in the red buff. Health regen coming on his bot side. The trades do continue.
It is the Mordekaiser, wants to get up in your face, do that damage, and so does the Gragas. Thankfully, they have the Alistair to combo against them in the bottom side.
Max definitely wants to be aggressive pretty frequently, because if you're able to build up that Iron Man passive, it is difficult for Jin to put in decent trades, but they have been able to contest Teddy a couple of times so far. No Exhaust Ignite duo for the top, and we don't often see Mordekaiser go into the teleport. Usually we see Exhaust Ignite, so there's kill pressure, and with Gragas, you would think that could be very, very potent, but Teddy more about the back timings than necessarily the Exhaust Ignite kill pressure that you might have imagined.
Nice little ward down there, allows ADD to continue pushing into So1 here.
First Darius of the week. 2 and 3 is the on the season Darius win rate for So1, who given that he's been pushed in a little bit by the Ornn, has been able to freeze, and Talia looking for a gank top side to profit off this.
Went right over a ward, so looking forward here. Immediately, ADD is just waiting to get that minion first and then backs off.
And he has the information. Spot side.
Looking to lock him down. That's one thing that this Jhin can actually do. Getting low though is Max. They turn it around. Guys, this is a Mordekaiser. Got to be careful. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Ian taking a ton of damage here, but is not going to die. Make that a double kill as Yondu says, hey, take me too. I would like to give you a kill as well.
There was a 2-level lead for Teddy over Pilot. I believe Teddy just hit level 6. Need the replay to confirm. But that's what Bruisers do on the bot side. Double kill. And suddenly, it's going to be a free Drake off the back end. That's one way to blow open the game.
Well, Papa, you mentioned how this looked a lot like the Telecom Wars battle. And, well, game number 3 was a landslide for KT. Will it be the same here for the side of Jhin Air as a massive start goes to them?
So Teddy is level 5 as his play begins. Notice he is still level 5. Let's see where he gets the level 6 experience. As it was just, right, I believe, the kill going in, and that was enough. So level 5 got the kill, then turned onto Yondu. Oh boy, just able to pick up the kill. Ends up 2 levels over to Pilot. We already mentioned his lack of threat. The Skarner following him was not the most fun thing to deal with, and there's a Drake. The leash range is global on the Drake, in case you guys were wondering. That's why it was chasing them between turrets. Very amusing.
Ian doesn't have a flash now. Looking forward here is Nova. Should be the easiest kill of all time. Gragas and Talia, best of friends, gonna pick up the kill.
Wow, this game has exploded into life. Boots mobility picked up on the first back from Nova. How about a solo kill topside? That's all we need. We're not gonna get it.
Still is Ornn. This time there is no ward though. MT might be able to come in here and force a flash at least. Gonna look for the seismic shove. There's the flash as it was perfectly placed. And now ADD, just another lane he can look to gank.
Nice Talia mechanics there. Good spot on the seismic shove. Just ends up getting ADD the flash even though he'd already disengaged from the fight. Yondu pulls back, tail between his legs. This is awkward times for the side of MVP. Got dunked by the Mordekaiser. Didn't even need Exhaust Ignite to pull that one off. And now bot side, a bit of a disaster. We knew that Jhin was going to have damage problems, and they're only going to be amplified with the Gragas and the Mordekaiser already on the board. Yondu has his ultimate available, but is going to be sitting in multiple wards on the top side of the map.
Going to be looking to see where Nova can roam to. Teddy, not even scared to go 1v2 at this point.
He just walked up to 2 people.
Walked straight into the Alistair and says, come at me, bro.
For the record, Alistair chose not to come at him, bro.
Yeah. Alistair, not much of a bro. Decides, no, I would not like to come at you. I'm going to steal the blue, but the smite is there for Yondu, about a couple seconds away for MT. Sohan still taking better trades in the top side, and why not take a cull to get yourself even further ahead?
Gives up his hopes on a solo kill, but definitely going to be in a comfortable spot. When Merc's very respectful first item choice, but if you're snowballing as hard as your team is, why not just go for a snowball respectful item, then go for a damage item, potentially be the reason your team is shut down? As I'm not sure Grace saw that ward. He is spotted by the Talia. Here we go.
Well, ADD does not have his flash, so how about a 2-second root? Gonna miss the seismic shove, not gonna matter in the end anyway. Gonna give this one over to Grace. As another kill goes over to Jhin Air.
Jhin Air finding a way to get an even bigger lead than game number 2 was able to grant them, and this one is so damn early in the piece. Massive gold lead in every single lane. The CS lead not being felt in mid, but otherwise very clearly happening for the side of Jhin Air. This one a roll on, and with the Mordekaiser, the win condition is pretty clear. Keep taking those Drakes, and good things will come abound around the Rift.
Yeah, they already took the Mountain Drake at, what was it, like 6 minutes, 6.5, maybe even earlier than that. And other bad news for MVP includes only one person taking a stopwatch this time around. It will be the Swain. So if you wanted to avoid dives and you wanted to try to survive stopwatches, would have been good, but they didn't expect to get this far behind and need them.
Definitely has gone worse than expected in this game. No one would contest you on that one. Speaking of not contesting, ADD Gonna give up the minion wave, wait for it to push into him. Map control again, gonna be pretty severe for the side of Jinner, in spite of the fact the control ward that was put down defensively wasn't even bothered to be cleared. Taking the Rift Scuttle is a nice little move here for Yondu to try and dissuade the Drake from coming through, but with all the items that have been picked up, don't know how much dissuading it'll actually do.
Teddy coming in here looking for his first win on the Mordekaiser. It's almost as if MVP didn't realize how much damage this bottom lane duo could do, as Max pre-6 just died as an Alistair running straight into the two of them.
Is the Guardian on the Mordekaiser, but Aftershock onto Nova. We often see double Guardian bot lanes, which are super annoying to deal with, but after the kill, whatever they decide to take would have been just fine. Jinner continue to push forward, and we're definitely not in the territory where one pick can turn this game. They want to take this bot lane turret as early as possible and rotate with the Dragon, but can see that the MVP turret still relatively healthy.
Interesting that the Mordekaiser went for the Ninja Tabi, really just wants to deal with the Jhin in the lane rather than all the other CC and magic damage on the side of MVP.
If the Merc Tread's irrelevant, then the game plan has to have been changed from where it was, because dunking on lane and continuing to play around the Drakes is all the Mordekaiser is concerned with in the early game, especially as the Snowball lead has now hit 3 lanes and are in 3,000 gold lead at 12 minutes. Home team puts down a control ward, setting up for the threaten of the Weaver's Wall, but the siege not fantastic on the side of Jinner, so I think the Drake is very important, does spawn in 10 seconds, and the Rift Scuttle vision has timed out.
There's that one ward actually in the river that spots everybody moving down to the bottom side, so looking for a kill now onto Sowan. He flashes the first part, not the second part, means that he should be going down here to the Impale. Is very tanky, but Pilot even TPs up to the top lane to try to secure that kill. They do get it, but they lose the first blood turret in the bottom side.
It is a good teleport just because they want to try to actually take the turret top side as an answer to the turret they were going to lose already. But now they're down tempo. They're not going to lose a Drake for this. They would have assumed that Jinner would just turn onto the Drake, so they may have to. Anyway, they lose a bit of damage on this inner turret. It won't go down because the minion wave is quite far away. And if they can get Rift Herald on the top lane turret, it's a pretty decent trade for MVP.
Yeah, Grace trying to do his part in the mid lane at the same time, trying to take down this mid turret. And Jinner, they're just not giving up on this bottom side. They say, we can wait on that Drake. We will get it eventually. We would rather just take the turret down first. Pilot taking a long time to take down this top turret as well.
You're not even getting it at all. Darius walking up, so all things considered, should be able to finish it, as Pilot does see the Darius and say, well, taking this in front of your nose, the Rift Herald does represent another turret, but who knows, the Drake. Spirit here from the side of Teddy may be good enough. He takes that one down, and MVP trying to find some emergency decent trades. It's always going to be a down tempo trade because they were down 4-0 in kills just a moment ago. Making the best of out of a bad situation, but who's to say it'll be enough for the side of MVP as Jinner continue to roll along.
Yeah, the Drake gonna come in here, say, hello, Ornn. Not actually gonna attack him, just go for that turret, looks like. Maybe help out the Rise in the push. That is the plan here. And together, we'll see what they can do. Looks like the Drake is just gonna do a couple of autos on the turret, maybe even harass Pilot a little bit.
Actually, Leandri's first purchase here, you'll notice from the Mordekaiser, not the Rylai's you might have expected with the items have been put together. Could have also considered a Morellonomicon against the Swain, but for the max damage choice here with the Ninja Tabi into the Leandri's, an item we see very, very irregularly these days. Pushing up on the top side, trying to take this third outer turret of the game. They're set up with the threat of this Mordekaiser. Pilot will definitely have to be on his defenses.
Yeah, especially as the Jhin Nova here with his mobility boots, always looking with the flash to engage if he can. But now 3 members coming up here, and TPs on the other 2 members. Means that they're certainly thinking about at least trying to push them back off of this turret.
Two melee champions on both sides. Because Yondu holds the Rift Herald, you would think there'd be more value in maybe trying to force a counter rotation by going mid lane, rather than being a Skarner trying to wave clear. That sounds about the saddest thing you could do in League of Legends. He eventually gives it up. They lose the turret. So1 is in no man's land.
Yep, he does not have his flash, and he's caught once again. He's not at the moment where he can 1v3, so they'll just hand over a free kill to Ian on the Swain in the mid lane.
One on a bit of a stroll there, a bit of Dora the Explorer came through from So1. Not the smartest decision he's ever made for a Stinger Phage Darius at 16 minutes into the game, so does go down, as he should.
Deservedly.
Deservedly, for sure. Not sure what he was doing. Seems to have lost his wits, just too surprised by how big of a lead they got a second game in a row.
Let's take a look at the gold advantage.
This is what we call a snowball. It has been very kind to the side of Jin Air, but it looks eerily similar to what happened in game number 2, and they did find a way to throw that one all the way.
Now, we can hope for a little bit better. I feel like the snowball is also coming a little bit faster compared to game number 2. Look at the items already. A bunch of that extra gold, you know, the kills on both Ryze and Taliyah went into building a early QSS after first item. So already the first 2 counter items against all of this CC have been built by Jin Air.
Paying their taxes and being in a gold advantage is still pretty good news for the side of Jin Air. Taliyah wants to be positioning for a weave as well, so I like it on her in particular, and the Ryze is getting it because of item timings. They can even interrupt the charge. Sorry, Sheraldine, this one was not one to be remembered. MVP getting Scuttle Crab control, but it's more than 2 minutes before the Drake, so it's only just going to be about Scuttle Gold, as So1 wonders if there's another way he can die.
He's certainly trying to push it, you know. He's going in there saying, hey, take me. I don't have QSS yet. Doesn't look like he bought anything also after the last time he died.
He's waiting for his cash in. He's got his lotto ticket, and he knows it's going to be cashed in very soon.
Yeah. He's just got to take a bunch of other bad bets first before he gets his good one paid off. Looks like maybe Zhonya's next for Teddy, too, so not the Rylines. Could always hold on to the arm guard and build into something else if you're feeling a little bit frisky. We'll see what he wants to do.
Probably has enough CC on the rest of his champions in his lineup to skip over the Rylines, but such a clean buy, and it gives you so much power on the Drake Spirit that it's always a bit of a surprise. And look at this, he's actually going for cost-effective tank stats, saying, hey, I want to chill on the front line and don't give too many mundos about the Swain and the Jhin.
Yeah. No mundo in this game, just the Mordekaiser. Starts with them, close enough. Wasn't able to pick up any of the kills from earlier. It was actually the double kill to Nova on the Gragas. And
ADD setting up a slow push here by freezing this minion wave. Be slow pushing the other way, of course, when they get around to it. Umti sees this, looking to duck in and pull off some sort of pick. Seems very tricky onto the Ornn.
Yeah. Part of the reason why Taliyah is so good in the jungle, obviously, is the rock surfing. She gets around so unbelievably fast.
Was hotfixed on this patch, but not the biggest. His Grace should be able to get away.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, Yondu's not going to commit too far into that. MVP has done that before. Reminds me of game number 1, where they were just committing hardcore to one person.
Well, we'll see which this game follows, because if it's game number 2, a vision mission from Umti will lead to his undoing. That vision setup will be Baron spawns in 23 seconds, but I imagine the third Mountain Drake will be an attractive pickup for both Teddy and the fact that a team with almost no Baron threat throwing 30% more, turns out 30% more of not much, might actually mean a fairly decent speed on their Baron attempt.
Yeah, it'll certainly help out their team. I mean, the Taliyah is decent, but everybody else is kind of, they would love an extra Mountain Drake. And they will just pick it up for free here. Next best one would probably be Infernal for the side of them. I suppose the Cloud Drake is not so bad to add to a little bit of their aggression. It's going to be Ocean, though, as that's just been the name of the game here for this series.
Jin Air roll along. They've spent all of their gold lead on defensive choices, which does mean they want a team fight, because you can take a lot of mistakes with these items and come out ahead purely from gold lead. They're able to disregard most of the early purchases, the base damages that MVP are mostly going to be relying upon. And Baron is a very real start very shortly. They're on it already.
Drake on Baron action. And look at how fast that goes down with Triple Mountain. It doesn't really matter what kind of comp you have. Also, Talia is just having a field day over there. So there you go. Basically a free Baron right there at 20 minutes and 40 seconds.
I feel like I need a shower. It feels just dirty what happened to that Baron. But the Drake rolls up. They got the Baron buff, and that was easy as you could like for the side of Jin Air.
Yep. Look at how fast the turret falls, too. It's like, if you had a turret, MT decides to play it safe. I think after the experience of game number 2, he'll be like, well, if I make another mistake, maybe my team will just end my contract tonight.
Better safe than sorry, Umpty. Don't worry about it. Umpty Dumpty?
Yeah, Umpty Dumpty.
Well, he did have a great fall in game number 2.
Oopsty Doopsty.
That
There's a lot of different names you can call him.
No, the one you just used. You can't call him that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Retire that one initially, Valdez. Please.
We'll put that one in the trash. Well, this is a really one-sided game. This feels like one that they can't exactly
Don't say that out loud. Oh.
I'm getting really excited for Jin Air right now.
Wait,
what else is there that I
have you
can
been
say?
excited for KT and SKT recently?
The time I got excited for KT, they actually won, though.
But you apologized.
No. There was another time where they were winning game 3 by a landslide, and I was like, it's time to get excited. But if we're talking about even series, yeah, I'm 2 for 2 and sabotaging people. I think Jin Air is kind of in that similar KT place that I just mentioned, where it's like, you basically cannot lose this game.
I'm trying to think what it would look like. We definitely saw it coming to some degree in game 2.
Yeah.
Because they would run out of damage. But this time, I'm starting to blank a little bit.
Are you saying maybe if they had blank in the lineup, that might help things along?
No, actually, I wasn't
you're
making a
getting
blank reference, but I'll take it anyway.
Oh, okay. It was just there. I mean, just out there. Had to mention it.
It's been a long series, so I understand why you're visiting the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Jin Air, just keep rolling along. They probably need a Drake to break the base, amusing as that sounds. Could try the Weaver's Wall play, but they'll have the most range damage onto turrets. Pushing up every lane, full court press from the side of Jin Air. Very, very clear, and MVP kind of just bemoan their luck as they've been smashed by the Triple Mountain Drake in this game.
Good Drake luck, not the same as game number 2 or even game number 1. It's just been the Umpty show when it comes to sieging, I guess. You can do a decent job like that. Grace, very low range. But Talia has a lot of other abilities to just zone people out.
And of course, apologies to the Teddy show, because Teddy and Nova did get the big 2v3 double kill.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you get 2v3 double killed, probably shouldn't be winning too many competitive games. So at least so far, this seems to be following logic, because that is 2 inhibitor turrets rolling at the exact same time.
Jin Air looking to make it quick, at least when it comes to the inhibitor turrets. But yeah, full court press, it's just nobody can get near anyone else. You'll notice that MT goes back into the lane. Baron buffs up the rest of the minions that were coming in, but the Baron buff ends. Trying to get it in closer. So on looking for his 3rd death. They really want that one, actually. Gonna get very close, and the Impale comes in, and they kill him again. Poor guy. The rest of his team is winning so hard, and he has the only 3 deaths.
Last auto. Doesn't get it.
Oh, wow.
You gradually lost. It sounded like you rebooted. It sounded like you rebooted halfway through your play-by-play gold out.
Yeah. It's a bit of an inhibitor issue right now.
You know, I think there's still a fortuitous shot into returning to the downed base they'll feel good enough about. They did get 3 inhibitor turrets, but no inhibitors. looking at the gold advantage, it's very one-sided. 5,000 is where it capped out in game number 2. Now we're up to the better part of 12,000. In recent memory, MVP roll up and say, well, it's just an Ocean Drake, but it's an Ocean Drake with 3 Mountain Dragons already claimed and a Mordekaiser, so sliding scales of okay and not okay for the side of MVP.
You know what could happen is, we've said this at the bottom of the teams here in LCK, the teams have a hard time closing out games. Now, when you're this far ahead, it's hard not to close the game. Obviously, 12,000 gold here at 26 minutes, but if MVP was able to steal the Baron without dying, wait it out, you know, none of the inhibitors went down, so there is always that chance. Baron spawns in about 2 minutes. You get the Baron, you wait it out. Umti goes in, he gets caught again. And then, you know, you're only about 6,000 gold behind at that point. And eventually your Swain becomes ridiculous and all of your CC happens. And the squishy-ish kind of Talia Rise comes in, you catch them a couple times, and then MVP win the game.
I just don't know what the other 4 members of Jin Air are doing in that story. I believe they may or may not have been disconnected from the game in that description. Here is the Drake we talked about when it came to closing out the game. It's going to be helpful for sure. How much does it do with each order? Oh, you know, a 7th of the...
A 7th?
The inhibitor, yeah. That's 3 hits. Watch it. 4.
4. Oh, that looks like...
An 8th.
An 8th, yeah. 5, 6. But the minions were helping out, so it doesn't really count. Well, you got to engage sometime. Really nice cast by Nova, actually. Splits up the team. Teddy is going to have that Zhonya's in position, and the rest of MVP cannot follow up. Which means that eventually this inhibitor should go down. Soan comes in, finishes off the job up there. Can move over to the mid side. MVP just cannot get near them.
Couple of ranged auto attacks, gonna take out a second one. We knew the top one was already pretty low. Regen or no, regen to about a 5th here. Here we go.
Well, they get onto MT here. He's surprisingly tanky, and well, there you go. Nice little knock-up. They get the Talia, but everybody else is gonna go down. Soan and Grace and even Teddy in the bottom side are just doing way too much damage. Double kill for Grace. And a minion wave pushing in. We'll see if they want to try to end it here.
Should end pretty easily. The triple Mountain Drake gonna help with this siege. They make short work of the turrets.
Yeah, ADD's Ghost able to help out with that one just for a bit. They're gonna use the minion wave to push this one in and end the game. They're gonna pick up a couple more kills first. They get the nice cast onto Pilot. There's the dunk. And there's eventually the, oh. Ian gets a kill, not gonna matter. Jin Air will close out the series 2-1.
A weird and wonderful series does go the way of Jin Air. They all think they should have closed it 2-0. We'll see if game score is important when we're calculating who will be in the relegation battle and who will be above it. MVP are still 1 series clear of Jin Air GreenWings, but only 1. And Jin Air have gone 3-1 in their last 4 series. So overall, it is still happy times for Jin Air. Things to work on. Not a clean series, but for MVP to go down to the team that lost to BBQ in their recent series lets you know there isn't that much between the bottom 3, and the work is not done when it comes to avoiding relegation.
You can see that MT having a bit of a hard time. You have to think that he blames himself for the loss in game number 2. If he doesn't get caught a couple of times, then perhaps it doesn't even get to game 3, and we don't have to play throughout that entire situation. So when it comes to being clean and when it comes to, you know, being able to play against some of the stronger teams, and, you know, if you make that kind of mistake against a stronger team, they're going to win 10 times out of 10. So he knows that he has to make sure that he's not making those mistakes for the future.
It's good to have high expectations for yourself, so like you say, feeling bad about game 2, but was very good in game number 3. Gonna go through this replay. Anointed MVP, we still have plenty of business to get to, a schedule, highlights, an MVP interview, and then eventually our second series of the night, Africa Freaks versus BBQ, coming up later.
Well, this was a bit of an embarrassing replay for MVP as well.
Game kind of lost from that play, to be honest, because they got the Drake as well. After it, Some nice moves, blowing the flash in the top side, coming into the mid lane, and being able to be very aggressive all around the rifts. That was a nice seismic shove. First game ever in professional play for on the Taliyah. You can kind of pick the players who sounded like they'd be good on Taliyah. Players like Peanut, players like the aggressive-minded junglers with usually some pretty reliable mechanics, as we're going to show this replay just to troll Grace.
It was a little bit early, just a very slight bit early. Nicely done, MVP. They know they have to engage, but the cast was perfect. You knocked back the Skarner and the Orange, so they cannot follow up on the engage. And then they realize, well, we're too far behind to do any damage anyway, so why not? In the end, they do get MC. Might be part of the reason why he's unhappy at the end of the game, as he's like, well, I got caught again, even when we're this far ahead.
From there, nice cleanup. They're just too strong. Jin will never be able to out-damage this sort of a front line in basically any game, but especially not a game like this, where they fell comically far behind. Jin close it out. They go to 3 match wins. Still a lot to play for on the bot side when we had both these teams, Jin GreenWings and the victors a couple of days ago, BBQ, on 0 match wins not 2 weeks ago.
Well, Jin does the most damage in this game. I've seen it all. Turns out you're playing against double melee in the bottom side. You do enough damage. Unfortunately, he didn't do much else outside of the damage. So maybe have to go back to the drawing board on that Jin pick.
Yeah, it you know, as a last pick, I don't think it really fit. You can lock down one of the melee champions, but Skarner for a jungler, not a Taliyah on the side of MVP. You were never going to be able to convert on that. Felt like it was a losing bet in the draft by MVP, just like it was in game number 1. Their red side drafts 2 games in a row left a lot to be desired.
Let's see who the MVP is going to be. It will be Nova, actually, with the good follow-up in the bottom side, I would say. The Cask a couple of times was actually really good as well, so not so bad. Definitely deserved MVP. We'll be hearing from the bottom lane of Jin Air. I'll hand it over to Ji-sun for the translation.
Thank you very much. This is Ji-sun with their interview translation, and today we're joined by Nova and Teddy from Jin Air GreenWings. Congratulations on the win. How do you feel, you guys?
되게 이 경기 빨리 끝내서 그냥 칼퇴할 수 있었는데.
Well, we could make it early home, but I'm not perfectly satisfied. Nova, how do you feel?
일단 진에어 신인 서포터.
Well, I'm a new support for Jin Air GreenWings, Nova.
근데 일단 저희가 팀이 연패 기간이 되게 길었잖아요.
Well, we have our long losing streak
사실
recently.
진에어가 항상 중위권을 하던 팀이었는데.
You know, Jin Air is always the middle ranked team, but I thought I was the reason why for Jin Air going so down.
그래서 솔직히 연패 기간 많이 힘들었는데.
So I felt really sad and really
과정에서 저희가
depressing.
연습 과정이 나쁘지 않았어요.
But during the practice games, you know, I thought our performance was getting better.
그러면서 저희가 이제 점점 자신감을 찾고.
So we were able to regain confidence.
솔직히 다 이겼는데 저희가
And game 2, we kind of lost game because of a one big mistake, but if we repair on those kind of mistakes, I think we are able to move much forward.
이렇게 분해한다는 것만으로도 분명히 지금 자신의 힘들을 좀 믿고 있다. 그렇기 때문에 좀 더 분함을 느끼는 것이 아닌가라는 얘기를 했습니다. 초반에 1라운드 굉장히 주춤했었던 많은 팀들이
Well, you guys did suffer in the first round robin, and Jin Air is one of the teams that getting much better and better in the second round robin.
경기를 따냈던 그 좋은 장면들이 있었는데 오늘 응원 엄청 오셨네요.
There are a lot of fans out here for you, and even your families and friends.
엄청 온 거죠? 네. 무슨 친구들인 거예요?
Who are they?
진짜 완전 어렸을 때 초등학교 때부터.
Well, they've been we have been friends since I was really a little boy, and also my family.
가족들도 오고 친구들도 갑자기 다 온다.
With all my family and friends out here, I was a little bit like feeling nervous, but I'm really happy.
그 노바 선수와 이제 관계가 있으실 만한 분이 앞쪽에 계셔가지고 아주 지긋한 눈빛으로 바라보고 계신데 어머니 혹시 그 잠깐 뭐
Is there any message for Nova?
대가요 오늘 너무 곱게 입으셔가지고 카메라 제가 일로 가면 안 잡히겠죠? 네. 뭐 잠깐. 네.
Please,
오늘 진짜
any message for him?
굉장히 기분이 좋으실 것 같아요 오늘. 일단 좀 응원하러 왔는데 이제 아들이 딱 승리하는 장면 보고 어떤
So
생각이
seeing your
드는지
son winning the game, how do you feel?
얻은 기분입니다. 광주에서 올라왔는데 너무 행복합니다.
Well, I drove all the way from Gwangju in Korea, and I feel really super happy.
장면들이었는데 사실 그 노반 선수가 제가 알기로도 이렇게 잘 웃고 말도 굉장히 잘하는 선수로 들었는데 화면으로 지켜봤을 때는 약간 고개도 숙이기도 하고
So,
좀
you know,
어려운
recently
상황에서
Nova had a hard time, but how did you feel?
하루뼈 안 들어.
Well, after the 8 consecutive losses, seeing all the players so down,
자책감 들었다겠잖아요. 힘을 내고
I just wanted them to cheer up
잘해줬으면 좋겠습니다.
and do their
오늘
part
너무,
fully.
역할을 잘해줬으니까 그리고 노바 선수가 왜 말을 잘하는지를 한 번에 알 수 있는 어머니와의 인터뷰네요. 끝으로 이제
And lastly,
노바 선수 잘하라고 진해요.
any last message for Nova and Junior GreenWings?
진해요, 화이팅!
Go Junior GreenWings!
좋은 느낌이었어요. 네, 어머니 감사합니다.
Thank you for your interview.
좀 안쪽으로 들어가 좀 얘기를 내보겠습니다.
So speaking of games,
2세트, 3세트 다 모든 경기 사실상 초반에 분위기가 다져왔습니다. 특히나 테디가 킬 먹는 순간 진해는 이미 끝났다.
well, you guys were in the lead in the early games. Especially when Teddy picked up every kill, everyone felt like Jinner was about to win the game.
네, 기억이 나요.
어땠어요? 사실은 원딜러들이 비원딜 잡았었을 때 그 감각에 대해서
You know, a lot of AD carry players are suffering playing AP champions in bot
좋은
lane.
모습 보여줬으면 좋겠어라는 팬들의 요청도 있었습니다만 왜냐면 지난번까지 블라디가 좀 아쉬운 모습이 있었기 때문에 근데 오늘은 좀
So what are your thoughts about AD Vladimir?
상대가 빨려 들어오는 게 좀 많아서 가지고 되게 잘했던 것 같아요.
Yeah, I think I did pretty well, especially the opponents were kind of kept coming into our side, so we were able to win the team fights.
그 좋은 장면 한번 일단 보면서 좀 얘기 나눠볼게요. 뒤에서 보시면 더 좋을 것 같아요.
Then let's go through the highlights.
추격하는 걸 보고 있었는데 테디가 역으로 위로 올라가면서 밀어붙이는 장면이 있거든요. 이때는 무슨 콜이 있었던 거예요?
A kind of shot call went back and forth.
있길래 그냥 내려와고 그냥 떼기
Well, Grace was at the sidelines, but I told him to join the team fight, and I was able to pick up all the kills.
좀 콜하면서 경기 풀었던 거. 그럼
So it was Teddy's shot call, right?
라는 생각이 좀 드네요.
Yes, it was.
확신이 좀 있었기 때문에 간 거예요?
We're confident about this team fight.
그냥 오라고 그냥 갔어요.
Yeah, I was really pretty sure, so I just asked Grace to join the team fight and kind of end up the team fight over here.
자체의 장면 중에 하나는 그때 당시에 바로 먹는 상황에서 카이사가 갑자기 화염용 쪽으로 넘어가는데 완전
Well,
예측한 것처럼 가서
You also
딱
solo
붙잖아요.
killed Kai'Sa when she was trying Drake.
용까지 제가 솔룡하러 하려 했는데
But I was actually trying to take the Drake,
보이더라고요.
but I saw her putting her telephone down there, so I just went there and solo killed her.
라는 느낌으로 확실히 이제 마무리 짓는 좋은 장면이 있었던 것 같습니다. 어떻습니까? 1세트에 대해서 궁금증 있나요, 고장규?
And question for the game 1?
뭐 1세트 자체보다 1,
네.
3세트에서 지네어, 테디와 노바의 호흡이
Overall,
굉장히 좋아진 모습이
I think Nova and Teddy are having much better teamwork overall.
그 경기력 상승의 원인이 뭔지
What can be the possible reason for that? You know, the synergy has been rising a lot.
뭐 목욕탕도 하고 뭐 이런 거 있는 거예요? 뭐 노바 선수가 얘기해 줄래요?
사실 제가 테디한테 그러니까 테디랑 같이 맞춘 지 한 두 달.
We have been playing together for like 3 months, and Teddy kind of blames me a lot.
하루에 한 번 이상은 거의 무조건 혼나다시피 하는데
네.
그냥 혼나면서 저도
But,
많이 배우고
but
있어요.
I learned a lot from him, so I think we are getting improved together.
아무래도 저는 처음에 와서 제일 힘들었던 점은
At first,
거의 테디 같은 경우는 거의 리그에서 거의 제일 공격성을
Teddy is the most aggressive AD carry in LCK,
저는 약간 솔직히 공격적이기보다는
but
약간
I'm
운영하는 스타일을
more like a
좋아하는데
macro-oriented player, so
공격적으로 할 수밖에 없어요. 그래서
I kind of learned how to play more aggressively as a support.
저절로 공격적인 측면에 특히나 발전한 장면이 있었다는 얘기를 해주셨는데 이 장면을 분명히 많은 팬 여러분들께서도 공감하실 것 같습니다. 그 이후에 등장했었던 장면인데 사실상 뭐 2세트 좀 아쉬운 모습도
So
있었습니다만
moving on to game 2,
등장하면서
we want to talk about AD carry Jin,
관련된 내용들을 이야기를 하고 계세요. 그 룬의 구성이라든지
especially about the runes.
이라든지 많은 팬들이 사실 그 진에 대해서 전 여전히 궁금해하고 계시거든요. 테디 선수는 어떻게 느껴요?
What are your comments about Jin?
진 탱커가 많으면은 저 팀에 탱커가 많으면
When there are a lot of
모르긴
tanks,
한데
Jin is not a good AD carry,
분위기는 좀 좋아가지고
but it's a good champion for macros and rotations.
근데 그 지난번엔 칼날비였나요? 김인환 발령님하고.
Yeah, last time it was Halo Blades, but this time it was a footwork. But today they had a lot of long range champions, so I kind of ended up in footwork. If not, I prefer to use Halo Blades.
선택했다는 그런 얘기가 좀 해주셨는데 세 번째 세트는 바텀 지역에서 일단 완전 노바가 더 이상 서폿이 아니기
Game
때문에
3.
그런 성장세에 올라왔었잖아요.
Nova, you picked up a lot of kill in bot lane.
일단은 일단 킬을 그렇게 먹게 됐잖아요.
네.
그라가스 같은
Well,
경우가
picking up all those kills,
빨리 맞추면 그때부터
I was able to go for cooldown builds.
거기서
이 장면.
제가 킬을 먹고 아이템 나오는 속도가 엄청 빨라.
Yeah, I was very fat after this team fight, so I got a lot of items.
수밖에 없었던 것 같아요.
So I think our team was in a lead since then.
하얘.
그런 건 아닌데.
아, 그건 아니었어요? 네.
이 킬을 먹게 되긴 했는데.
네.
먹게 돼서.
Well, it wasn't my intention to pick up all the kills, but yeah, I think it ended up in good results.
애매할 수도 있다는 얘기도 있었는데 그런 거하고 달리 상황에 따라 좀 다를 수도 있는 거네요.
그라가스 서포 같은 경우는 킬
Well, in
먹으면
terms of
죽을 거예요.
Gragas, it is okay for support to pick up kills.
그러니까 완전 움직이는 장면들 많았는데 그 중에 하나 장면이 이제 미드 갱킹이
네.
있었던 바로 그 장면인데 그 장면 한번 다시 한번 볼게요.
So let's go through some highlights.
아 이때는 아주 합이 기가 막혔어요.
It was a clean engagement and teamwork.
좋았어라는 듯한 고개를 끄덕이는
Even Teddy seemed satisfied.
5점 만점이면 몇 점 줄 수 있을까? 이 정도 갱킹이면.
한 시점에 한 6, 7점?
That was like a 6 or 7 out of 10.
아주 박하시네. 얼때는 뭐 노바 선수가 봤을 때는 합이 좀 좋았던 것 같은데 어때요?
So what was going on over there?
최근에
I think we had good teamwork over there.
말씀하시는 거예요?
아니 지금 방금 전에.
네, 저거 만점짜리죠.
Well, that's 10 out of 10 for sure.
테디 입에서 6, 7점 나온 거면 거의 만점입니다. 우리가 알고 있잖아요. 그만큼 테디의 그 공격력이라는 건 만점 이상을 상회하니까 우리가 그런 느낌을 좀 받았던 것 같은데 테디 선수에게 사실 움직이는 넥서스라는 게 별칭이 생겼어요.
Some people call you as a walking nexus.
내미를 알죠?
You know what it means, right?
워낙 좋은 수치를 가지고 있기 때문에 또 그런 얘기가 좀 들려오는 것 같은데 이런 건 좀 약간 부담스럽다.
Does that kind of put more pressure on your shoulder?
더 잘해야겠다는 생각이 듭니다.
No, I don't mind a lot. It just makes me feel like I'm a really significant player in our team. I'm gonna just perform much better from now on.
느낌을 보여주고 있습니다. 그레이스 선수도 불러봐요.
Grace, you wanna be up in the stage?
거기 앉아있네. 화면에 잡혀있으면 저건 얘기된 게 없어가지고 의자 있어요? 올라와요.
Come up to the stage.
네, 올라와요. 자연스럽게. 그냥 화면에 잡힌 것 같은데. 아니 그냥 올라오라고 얘기했어요. 네. 일단 올라온 김에 인사 좀 해주세요.
Hi, Grace.
안녕하세요.
Hello.
그레이스입니다.
This is junior mid laner Grace.
사실 그레이스 선수 하면은 제가 처음에 예전에 인터뷰했을 때부터 좀 밝은 느낌이 좀 있었는데 어느 순간부터 약간의
I think recently you have become a little bit more like calm. Before, back in the days, you used to be really bright.
근데 경기에 약간의 좀 흐름들이 좀 좋지 못해서 그런 것 같은데 최근엔 좋잖아요. 어때요?
And Junior is kind of in a good mood right now, right?
적으로 낫긴 한데 그래도
네.
Yeah, compared to the earlier times of the season, yeah, it has got a lot better, but I think there are a lot of points to repair on, so I don't really feel confident.
마지막 판 그렇게 나쁘지는 않았던 것 같아요.
It wasn't bad, but yeah, still not a good games.
오늘 응원 누구 오셨어요?
어머니, 할머니랑
Well,
같이 오죠.
they are my mother and my grandmother.
저 생각도 못했어. 누님인 줄 알았어요. 네.
I thought she was your sister.
태가 너무 고우셔가지고 누님 괜찮으시면 제가 마이크 한번 잠깐 인사 좀 드릴게요. 잠깐 인사.
Is it okay to have a short interview with you?
소개 좀 먼저 부탁드릴게요. 네.
안녕하십니까, 그레이스 엄마.
Hi, this is Grace's mother.
네. 지난 경기에서 사실 계속 연승하길 바랬는데
I wanted them to continue their winning streak, but seeing him getting solo killed, I was really sad. But
다시 왔고
I want him to cheer up.
매일 응원 오려고요. 올 때마다
And
승리하니까. 예.
till the end of the split, I'm gonna come out and cheer for him.
가족의 응원이면 언제나 들어도 좋은 것 같아요. 혹시 괜찮으시면 잠깐 말씀 나눌 수 있을까요? 손주분이시잖아요.
He's your grandson, right?
사실상 보기가 좀 쉽지가 않으셔가지고 네 안녕하세요. 네.
할머니입니다.
Hi, this is Grace's grandmother. I'm really happy.
행복하다고 말씀해 주셨네요. 사실 보실 때 이게 쉽지가 않으시잖아요.
Well, watching esports is not an easy game. It's easy thing, right?
네. 그럼 굉장히
Well, this is my third time out here, but he won every single match that I visited, so I'm gonna keep coming for him.
그 손주가 했던 것 중에서 가장 좋은 장면이 있다면 뭔가 기억에
What could be the best highlight of Grace's play? I don't know.
다 너무 좋아하니까.
전망적으로 잘했다.
Overall, I think he did well.
아, 잘하면 이제 해설자 자리에 올라오셔야 될 것 같아요. 괜찮죠?
I think you should be a caster for LCK.
그럼 손자에게 한 말씀.
I think my grandson is the best.
한 말씀 해주시면 손자.
Any last message for him?
잘해.
Go, Grace!
고맙습니다. 아, 어려운 자리 감사합니다. 아, 이제 가족의 응원이라는 게 이렇게 진짜 훈훈하네.
Support from the families is a really big thing for all the players, right?
들려보낼 수가 없어가지고 제가 듣기로는 그리 선수가 프로게임을 안 해도 먹방으로도 충분히
And I heard that you are very good at social eating.
고개를 크게 끄덕끄덕거리고 있는데.
You better be a streamer for eating, so we have a present for you.
맛있게 먹어서 너무 맛깔나게 먹어가지고 소문이 자자하더라고요. 이게 무슨 장면이에요, 저 장면은?
What was going on at that moment?
싫어 먹은 것 같은데 팬분이 보내주신 거.
I think I was just having some lunch.
너무 맛있게 먹는다는 얘기 소문이 자자해가지고 저희가 뭐라도 드리려고.
So we got some present for you.
사왔어요.
So we bought you these corn dogs.
네, 열어보세요, 열어보세요. 네. 강남의 명물 핫도그입니다.
You know, it's very popular go-to snack for all the pro players in your Sport TV arena, right?
한번 살짝 맛있게 먹어주실래요? 고맙습니다.
Thank you.
승리를 먹듯이 핫도그 오다니 맛있게 드셔서 다시 한번 감사의 말씀 드리겠습니다. 또 이렇게 해서 테디 선수한테
And we have another present for you, Teddy.
아이디 이거 만들게 된 이유가
I heard that
고민형에 관련된 내용을 좀 얘기를 하더라고요.
your idea about the teddy bear, right?
제가 고민 형을 좀 껴안고 자는 게 좀.
Well, yeah, I still sleep with my teddy bear. So yeah, I made my ID Teddy.
꽤 오랫동안 똑같은 고민형.
Do you still sleep with your teddy bear?
잘 안 와가지고.
네.
Yeah, without my teddy, I can sleep well.
괜찮으시면 잠깐. 네. 감사합니다. 저희가 2배로 좀 주무시라고.
So for you, we bought this
가족을 돌려왔습니다. 일단.
big teddy bear.
감사합니다.
네. 저희 정말 최선을 다하고 있다는 것만 알아주셨습니다.
We're always doing our best for Sport TV interview.
박수를 드리도록 하겠습니다.
And for Nova, let's give a warm round of applause.
오늘 정말 경기 좋았으니까. 자, 끝으로 계속 드시고 계셔도 돼요. 네, 끝으로.
And lastly,
GreenWings가 사실 지난번 승리를 따냈을 때, 연이어서 승리를 따냈을 때는 그래도 조금 더 가능성이 조금씩 늘어나는 게 느껴졌습니다. 근데
you know, GNR has been picking up consecutive victories, and even today,
굉장히 불안해지기 시작했거든요. 굉장히 좋은
I think all the higher teams shouldn't let their guards down facing against GNR.
팬 여러분들께 마지막으로 한 말씀.
So any last message in regards of upcoming matches?
그냥 오늘 첫 번째, 세 번째 경기는 되게 깔끔하게 좋았는데.
You know, the first and third match was kind of clean, but second one we made a lot of mistakes. So we're gonna make sure to get rid of all the imperfection out of the way.
좋은 경기 앞으로도 좀 부탁드리겠습니다. 자, 이어서 노바 선수.
일단 제가 작년에 챌린저스 리그를
Last year I was in the Challengers League,
챌린저스 리그 때는 못 받아본 관심을 지금 여기서
but in LCK I'm getting all this attention that I haven't experienced before. So thank you for all the love and support.
발전하고 잘하는 선수가
I'm gonna make sure to improve from now on.
선수 다음에 꼭 다시 인터뷰를 통해서 만났으면 좋겠습니다. 어느 정도 먹었죠?
Grace, are you done with your corn dogs?
그레이 선수.
성적 부진한 가운데 응원해 주셔서
Thank you for all the support, even though our research results were bad, and we're gonna make sure to win from the rest of the split. Thank you.
좋은 장면 계속해서 기대하겠습니다. 자, 하위권이 더 이상 쳐져 있지 않습니다. 위쪽으로 올라오는 기세를 계속
So
보여주면서
this will be the end of the interview with GreenWings GreenWings picking a victory against MVP, and I will pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
그리고 이 세 명의 선수에게 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Welcome back, guys. Always giving out the presents here on the SPO TV broadcast. I hope the bear is okay. Kind of got dropped on his head, but
I hope this closes out quickly. Those corn dogs are looking popping.
I know.
I want
Papa,
one
you looked
so
like you
bad.
wanted it. You were getting in there.
I tried.
You're just about to reach over.
It's almost within touching distance as MVP are almost within touching distance of the GreenWings GreenWings. Does mean that SK Telecom firms into 7th spot, a little bit cleaner. Not what they want to be at, but that's where they are at. Let's also talk about our schedule, guys. We still have our second series. Feels like we've had quite an extended day because of the long podcast. But BBQ versus the FLICKR Freaks will be after the break.
Yeah, it should be a fun one. I mean, BBQ obviously having some issues recently, but we'll see if they can pick up their second win.
Yeah.
I still think they're having issues. It's a BBQ issue for BBQ right now. They don't really have consistency. Nobody on the team is really showing up and being the big carry, whereas FLICKR, they're on a roll. They're like on top of the top middle group, right? They're in third place.
All I'm going to say is they're very unlikely to pick up a firm victory. I think maybe they can grind out some games, but they're coming off their first victory. It might be their only one. So I'm going to say, BBQ Olivers, show us what you got. You're technically not ruled out of anything so far. It's very unlikely you make playoffs, but FLICKR Freaks have been up and down. They are coming off a victory against Griffin. We'll see how they look. I'm just ready for some more League of Legends. We had some weird and wonderful stuff in Series number 1, and I'm really concerned the Corn Dogs have gone far too far away.
Too much Jin, I'd like to say. If we can tone down the Jin a little bit for the second video or match, that would be fantastic. But we'll have to wait and see, guys. After about 20 years, we will be back with our second matchup of FLICKR versus BBQ. So we'll see you in a bit.
I see you always wanna go somewhere to waste your golden soul. I see the smile you never show. Oh no.
It's been many days, many ways misled, knowing that I'm tiptoeing on both sides of the fence, trying to figure it out, but I'm living in doubt. So scared one day that your grace might run out, cause I'm so far from perfect, so close to worthless, feeling no good for worship, trying to understand this life that you purchased. Am I just a man destined for death, or do I deserve it? You died for my sins and that's the verdict. You carried out God's true will and purpose with urgency for the sake of love, forgiveness and eternity. Your grace is enough. I got so many questions, so many things to change. I'm calling out, but sometimes you're far away. I get discouraged and seem to always fall flat, but that's when you pick me up and bring me back.